I am in the garden right now. I need to water the garden, so that's why I'm out here. But I also have a shorter message to share, so I thought I'd try to do two things at the same time. Get this chore of watering the garden done, and read what I wrote down about love, about remembering to love. So let's see if I can do both things at the same time, basically. First of all, I want to let the chickens out. Okay, I can't really water the garden and do this message at the same time, so I watered the garden a little bit, but I'll finish it after I read what I have written down here. Also, I don't have my tripod out here. I'm holding this camera with my arm. I'll see how long my arm holds out holding this camera like this. But okay, the title of this message is Remember to Love. Does love seem like a painful, inconsistent, unreliable thing to you? I would count it a blessing from the Lord if you know that true love is not like this. However, unfortunately, I think that more people can relate to so-called love being a hurtful thing rather than a not hurtful thing. I recognize that. It is very difficult to know what love is if you have almost never experienced it. It is also very difficult to know what love is when people who have said with their words that they love you show in their actions that they don't. It can be confusing. There are many ways that a person can feel unloved. Whether they be in blatant ways or subtle ways, I think most people are quite aware when they feel unloved. It is painful and it is noticed. Some subtle ways I feel unloved are when I'm not being listened to and when someone is faking the act of listening. Has that ever happened to you? You can tell when someone isn't really listening and when they are genuinely listening. I feel loved when someone takes the time and effort to listen. I know it takes time and effort to listen. I know it can make me feel unloved when someone isn't listening to me, so I take extra care and effort to listen to others in my personal life, because I don't want them to feel the way I feel when I'm not listened to. When I'm not listened to, I see that not only do they not care to listen, but they also do not care to understand. Sometimes when people don't listen, they will ask me to repeat myself. And I feel put out by that. Now I have to go to the extra effort of repeating myself to make up for their lack of effort. I appreciate that if someone cannot listen at the moment, that they take the time to communicate to me that they can't listen at the moment, but would like to listen in a few minutes or when they are able to. I can wait. I would rather wait and be listened to later than speak now and not be heard. I think a lot of people would feel loved by someone truly listening to them, not being hurried or cut off, caring enough to listen, caring enough to understand where they're coming from. They need to be seen and loved. Another way to feel unloved that I have discovered is when you feel you need to fight for your own welfare with those who are supposed to care for you, or who say they are caring for you, but when you look at the facts, they aren't, and so you need to fight for your own welfare. That is an isolating feeling. I don't want this message to be all about the different ways that a person can be unloved. There are many different ways. I want it to be about, let us each be the kind of people who do love others. As a Christian, remember to love. Let's not forget about love and how important it is. By this, all will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. If others are unloving in various ways, then that is their choice. I just know that I don't want to be like them. Sometimes I can be so focused on growing in the Christian life and moving forward with God that I don't think very much about love. Sometimes I don't think about it much because it is just something I do. I do love others. I listen to them and take note of what they say. I consider them as they might be affected by my actions. I pay attention to what would make them happy or help them in some way. Not that I live my entire life to make others happy, but considering the welfare and happiness of others is something to consider when you love someone. Sometimes I don't think very much about love because it is just something that I do. And I credit any love that I show to others to God working in me and in my life. Not because I'm such a great person or something like that. I hope you know what I mean. Anyway, I don't think very much about love, but more often I think about love when I feel the lack of it. I notice the lack of it. Or I think about love when I consider how perfectly God loves. When I am feeling unloved, the Lord reminds me of how much He loves me. This is a consoling and comforting thing. I believe you can find the same consolation when you are unloved by people. You and I are loved by God. He sees, listens, understands, and cares. I don't have to repeat myself with Him for lack of hearing, attention, or understanding. He understands me the first time I say it, and really even before I say it. I need not fight for my welfare with Him. He is always interested in the very best for me. He loves me. No one loves like God loves, but it is good for Christians to be more and more like Him in every way, including in the way we love. He loves you, and may we love like He loves. A new commandment I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you also must love one another. By this everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another. All those spiritual gifts, as listed in the Bible, what were they without love. If I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I am only a ringing gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have absolute faith so as to move mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor, and exult in the surrender of my body, but have not love, I gain nothing. Love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it is not rude, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no account of wrongs. Love takes no pleasure in evil, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Another thing, love the right things in the right order. This is important. How very important, critical this is. If this is out of order, very poor fruit is the result. In fact, fruit that our enemy enjoys. Loving in the wrong order has terrible results. It can and does ruin lives. Above all else, guard your affections, for they influence everything else in your life. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Guard your heart with all diligence, for from it flow springs of life. God is strong, He is able. You need not try to shield Him from the hard, messy things in your life. He is present, and you can share these types of things with Him. He loves you truly. He was the first to value me, love me, cherish me, and He always will. I'm not above asking the Lord to teach me what love is and to ask Him to help me love as He wants me to. If you would like, you can ask Him for this too. Sometimes when I'm watering the garden and seeing that water go to nourish the plants or whatever, help them grow, I think of that in a spiritual aspect sometimes, of helping others to grow in God, grow as a Christian. Do you ever feel like that? I don't know what God has you doing, but sometimes it feels like that, where you're tending a garden, sort of. Or maybe another way to explain it is, I think it was Peter. I think Jesus, after He rose from the dead, was asking Peter if Peter loved him. And I think Jesus asked Peter three times in a row, basically, if Peter loved him. And Peter said yes, he did love him. But after each time that he said he loved him, Jesus would respond by saying something like, "Feed my lambs," or "Feed my sheep." Food for thought. Makes me think of laboring in various ways to feed God's sheep, feed His lambs. I don't know, just a thought that came to me as I water the garden from time to time. And it is a labor. It is something of a labor, especially I don't have a automated watering system here. I don't have soaker hoses or something, so it's a matter of standing out here for at least an hour watering the plants. So yeah, it feels a little bit like labor, some kind of labor. May we may we not grow weary in the work God has given us to do, whatever that may be. And why? Because we love Him. Because we love Him. That should be a motivating factor. Also, I mean, that would be my number one motivating factor for doing anything that the Lord might want me to do, is my love for Him. That would be my number one motivating factor. However, yes, caring about other people as well. Have you ever thought that some other Christians might need you to obey God so that they can benefit from it? I know the results of not watering this garden. It means death to some of these plants. I mean, there is a cause and there's a cause and effect. Like there is a cause and effect of our obedience. I'm not sure where I'm going with that, except to hopefully encourage that we're not working in vain when we obey God, that it's not in vain, that it has purpose and is even needed. Personally, I like to see the plants in this garden thrive. I like to see them grow and produce and be healthy. And I think the Lord wants the same thing for His people. For His people to grow and thrive and be healthy and be all that He intended for them to be. Become disciples, not just converts. And that thing I mentioned in the message about loving the right things in the right order, yeah, that's important too. Yes, we are supposed to love others, but we're supposed to love God most of all, first of all. But what I'm trying to get at is be wise, don't be stupid. Loving people in a way that kills you is not the way to go. Yes, of course we're supposed to make sacrifices. But do you understand what I mean? Your life is valuable. And if you so-called loving people who are just bringing you down to the point where you're not even functioning as well as you could, can't even follow God and have enough peace in your life where you're stunted now. You're just coping so much with other people that the direction of your life is not going the right way. Then it is probably a wise thing to reassess how you are actually, quote, loving somebody. You know what I mean? You're not supposed to throw the valuable life that God has given you and what He wants you to do down the drain because somebody else can't get their act together. Do you know what I mean? Does that sound harsh? Does that sound unchristian? I just think it's wise. Why God values you, values your life, and if you are so-called loving someone to the point of self-detriment, that doesn't make any sense at all. To me, that would be you're not even valuing the life God has given you enough to protect it. So, loving the right things in the right order. Yes, that's important. It would be stupid to me to go around willy-nilly just loving everybody while you're killing yourself. Do you know what I mean? I think you know what I mean. Yes, for all those who think that is unchristian, Jesus did die. Remember, I made references to killing, like you're killing yourself trying to love certain people. Yes, Jesus did die for the world, for all these people, all the people in the world. Yes, he did die. He laid down his life. I think there's some verse in the Bible about there's no greater love than to lay down your life for your friend. I get the picture. For all you who think what I said just a minute ago is unchristian, here's this. That was God's will, the Father's will, for his Son to die. That is not God's will for every single other person in the world to die. So, there's that. God's will for a lot of people is to live their life out, however many years they're given, and produce, grow, and work for him while we're here. Not to prematurely die, not to be stunted, not to be drugged down by people who are so messed up that they are now affecting you really negatively. I just wanted to add that because it is important to love the right things in the right order, not in the wrong order. Just because we are called to love does not mean we throw wisdom out the window. Also, if somebody that you are loving is dragging you down, you need to consider, do they even love you? If they are a Christian, are they even loving you? I know that these are generally not the most pleasant things to talk about, but I tend to go there. Well, there's a lot of things about truth that are not too pleasant to talk about. But, I don't know, let us just face them forthrightly. Not just ignore the unpleasant parts of truth because they're unpleasant, but to acknowledge them and do our best with the full truth. Or at least a fuller perspective of it. I'm not saying I have the entire truth to share with you. I'm sharing you a part of it, at least. Anyway, I think I should get back to watering the garden and finish that up. It is a really nice day today. It is sunny, but not too hot. And Lord willing, I will see you in the next one.